Hi. I want to start this video by saying no, the title is not cap, the thumbnail is not clickbait, I am quitting Sandstorm. I'm not going to beat around the bush though and wait till the end to actually tell you the full compass of what that means before you have to ask. No, this is not permanent, but eventually it's going to be. This might come as a surprise to some of you, but really a lot of people have been paying attention to my recent uploads, and I've seen them commenting more or less, understanding the writing on the wall, and I'm here to talk about it in an official aspect now and confirming what many people have been speculating for months now. The truth is more complicated than I can articulate in a 1280 by 720 YouTube thumbnail or 100 character limit title, and I owe it to all of you to do more than just the community post I wanted to make talking about this in the first place. But this isn't going to be the regular funny upload with the edits and the memes, so really I think I'm just going to throw up some footage of me playing my favorite mode, and if you want to minimize this and have it in the background as you play or go about your day, go for it, King. Your time is valuable. I'm just going to be talking for this one. Get it all out of the way. I am not in any sort of crisis and the channel is not going anywhere, but if I wanted to stay that way, there are issues down the road that I need to be able to route, and in the current state of my channel, this is just not possible. Well, what do you mean by that? I'm going to spend this time explaining so that when I'm not really touching Sandstorm for the next few months, there will be an explanation for a lot of you who maybe were hoping I would be. I want it to be known first, foremost, and above anything else that given the choice in my current position, I would be okay making these videos until the eventual heat death of the universe, but I also know that it's just not possible. The reality of Insurgency Sandstorm, one which I have known ever since I made my first gun guide and have understood from the very beginning, is that this is not a viable game to build a YouTube channel off of. It's odd that I should say that, being the person who has built the largest channel on this platform, which bases its entire content production off of one game, Insurgency Sandstorm. But it's true. I knew from a rather young age that this YouTube thing is really what I wanted to do, but in my mind, the games I'd play were the things I were playing at the time, Rainbow Six Siege, Battlefield, Destiny 2, and so on. But what I came to understand from exploring those, however, was that the market for content of AAA titles is in no short supply. It's saturated with tutorials, playthroughs, cutscene compilations, and of course, funny moments. And that's why when I discovered it, I chose Sandstorm, because at the end of the day, it is not a AAA title. Sandstorm has always had, at that time more than ever, a massive demand for content because next to nobody's producing content on it, on anything which can be even remotely considered a regular basis. Before there was me, it was pretty much down to larger creators who primarily play other games within a very similar market to drop in once or twice a year during a big update, make a video, cash a check, and move on. That's not to say Russian Badger, or anyone else for that matter, is somehow disingenuous for netting views from this game, but if Operator Drewski or Karma Cut or whoever else only played Insurgency like me, they'd have the numbers like me, because at the end of the day, no matter how you spin it, Insurgency Sandstorm does not possess a player count or fan base with any sort of significance resembling one which you can produce a thriving, large YouTube channel off of with a large fan base. On any given day, Insurgency only peaks at 1,000 to 2,000 concurrent players at most, with weekends sometimes getting to high 2s or maybe a 3. I think the biggest update I've ever seen, the day of, it got to maybe 12,000 concurrent players on it one time. So if you wonder why every big YouTuber and their mom makes the obligatory "why is this game so underrated" video, talks about how they love this game and they think it's super underrated, and then never mentions again for another year, it's because for them Insurgency Sandstorm does not deliver numbers like Arma 3 or Warzone consistently do. So in reality, there is no massive content creators to accompany this game. Before me, it was just Gibbs, and MG Gibbs is fat fucking dog shit, so I knew there wasn't gonna be much competition. I knew that producing gun guides for this game made me the only person with a corner in that market. The very first comments I got were how nobody makes this sort of videos for Insurgency, and it was great to see, whereas if I just dove headfirst into Siege, I'd be competing with Matimio, Varsity Gaming, Russian Badger, and any other number of massive creators. It also helped that, for the time, Sandstorm was relatively new to me and a massively fun, fresh, and innovative shooter. With Insurgency, gun guides were my thing. This week in Sandstorm was not being done by anyone else, but in reality, I knew that the model was not sustainable, because the truth that I've known for ages now, the basis for this decision that I've made up my mind about ages ago, even before I finished producing the 25,000 subscriber special, before I rounded off an 8th season of Gun Guide with a Sterling video, is that Insurgency Sandstorm is not sustainable. It seems dumb to stop creating content for it now with an update just having been dropped, with the largest creator in the tactical shooter scene creating a massive video on the game cascading into the spotlight in the same 24 hours as it makes it into the Game Pass. Why stop creating Insurgency videos now? Because no matter how I spin it in my head, none of that is going to change this game. As of Update 1.13 Operation Livewire, a lot of things were added, but even getting into the game for the first time with the new update, something was immediately off as it was missing, and it was very telling. The player count that has been front and center under the title of the main menu of the screen, there for the 4 years this game has been on Steam, is gone. This doesn't stop me from viewing the numbers in the Steam charts, of course, but the removal of it in the game for all to see just felt like somebody wanted to make it just that much harder, that much less evident how this game is really doing, because I dug a little deeper, and if you check the Steam charts, if you look at the numbers on the weekend, right after that big Russian Badger video, in the game all over YouTube, with a new update, you see a total of 3,400 people online. These are average numbers for the game, but for a game, these numbers are terrible. By a game, I mean one with a sales record of Insurgency Sandstorm, and ultimately, here is where we arrive at our primary reason for me making this video. When you see player online numbers like that, what would you guess? How many people do you think own copies of Insurgency on Steam? Because as of 2019, before its addition on the Epic Games Store, before the console release, Insurgency had sold 500,000 copies. Half a million people before what can largely be considered the most eventful period of Insurgency's history, and the game peaked in numbers in the very same year at 14,000 people online in May. Those sales numbers have to have only gone up significantly, so I ask you, already knowing the answer to this question that I've pondered myself, why then, with probably much closer to 1 million copies now sold with console and Epic Games Store in mind, does Insurgency struggle to get over 2,000 players online on Steam on any given day? Because what nobody seems to realize or acknowledge when they make videos on this very good, very underrated game is that, as a direct result of the development choices made by the people running it, Insurgency Sandstorm gets underwhelming numbers, and having played close to 1,500 hours, having built a channel from scratch based off its contents, in my opinion, it deserves them. Insurgency Sandstorm continually fails to deliver significant quantities of content for a game which amounts to little more than a glorified Source Engine mod, with only 3 major updates a year, which are considered to be 2 guns and a map, and most recently, not even a map. Insurgency Sandstorm is not being run or even worked on by any of the people who started the Source game years ago, or started Sandstorm recently as a passion project, and has not been for about 2 years now. Insurgency Sandstorm chooses to use what little development staff they have left to create features such as a reworked weapons customization menu to replace one nobody had a problem with, one which people comment on my older videos asking me how to have, not knowing it's gone now, removing features nobody complained about just because of minor bugs, adding, removing, and re-adding other elements on an every other update basis, and continually failing to implement cosmetics to larger quantities of outrage on the part of the handful of people left playing this game on any sort of regular basis, even if you exclude my videos. They do those things instead of attempting to fix the bugs which plague their game and can exist for multiple updates at a time, fixing the glaringly bad bots in their design, and they cling to band-aid patches which drastically worsen issues which time and time again the community has wanted undone. A year ago now it was announced that New World Interactive has been developing a new game, and I can guarantee you, beyond the shadow of a doubt, whatever the title is, it doesn't start with Insurgency, and I don't blame them. At the end of the day, no matter how you spin it, I am running out of content to produce videos on for Insurgency, and that content is not being added at any rate which is sustainable. I have hours of content covering every gunner, breacher, and advisor weapon in the game, with only half of the rifleman and marksman weapons already being produced into videos. The already poor rate at which the game is receiving updates is slowing down to a sluggish churn, which in the future will no longer offer me the quantities of material I need to make videos that are new. And for this reason, with no interest in becoming some channel pushing out the same repetitive and benign content, I have to move on to other games. Does other games mean Modern Warfare 2? I don't know. At first, yes, as I have had a lot of success making videos for it and fully intend to cover as many guns as possible for that title, in spite of many comments on the part of my own subscribers which make it particularly difficult to do so. People saying they only want to see Insurgency, people saying Call of Duty is cringe, people telling me that for some reason or another, the Call of Duty fanbase doesn't deserve my videos, in spite of the fact that every single comment I've gotten from people new to my channel is about how they're happy to find a creator for Modern Warfare that they can watch and enjoy, and telling me to keep it up and being very positive as opposed to what I've experienced for my entire 2 years on Sandstorm alone. Maybe I will find another shooter. I'm looking at picking up Ready or Not, as it has been highly anticipated by myself since I first saw the pre-alpha footage years ago in high school. I know I will play Space Marine 2 when it comes out, but it certainly doesn't fit the genre of games that this channel is focused on. Shit, I might start painting Warhammer miniatures as a new second channel, or drop the next 3-hour Minecraft video, but what I'm not doing is continuing to play the same brutally unpolished, obstinately unchanging title with no future and no meaningfully new content. For the rest of the year, I am going to produce Modern Warfare 2 videos. If you have a problem with Call of Duty and hate the title of a game which isn't even made by the same developer from year to year because of over 10 years of stigma on the part of everyone from Halo to now quote-unquote tactical gamers who've never even played one, I have news for you. Your god Russian Badger says he's going to, and your Messiah Brandon likes it a lot too. So go fuck yourself. I'd like to thank all of my channel donors and actual fans for supporting me through making this decision, who've engaged in the posts I privately shared discussing this a week beforehand and shown nothing but support for this transition. If you want to help out, I only ask that as long as you like the content, you push all the buttons you feel necessary doing and keep watching, because as long as you're here, I will be too. Finally and ultimately, I think it's best to say that if you look at the 500 subscriber special I made forever ago and the 3,000 subscriber special and see all those people I played with and had so much fun with back in the day, people I would consider friends, dropping lobbies, shooting the shit, none of those people play Sandstorm anymore. It's time I moved on too. Thanks to the people who worked to make the game which made me. Thanks to Hank, who doesn't work for New World anymore, but put my Tavor gun guide in the monthly highlights and made my channel get tons of views years ago. Thanks to that MG Gibbs for giving me my first proper YouTube shout out, and above all else, thanks to you for watching. I'll find you out there in another game.